Welcome to Taking Care of Business on Koerner Radio, News Talk 1180 for the best in Saturday Talk Radio at 1 o'clock and on 1230 KGEO at 10 o'clock Saturday, and for the best in Wednesday Talk Radio on 1410 KERI on Wednesday at 1 o'clock, and now on 1000 KKIM in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Your host is Clay Koerner, and I'm Marty Pay, and behind the big board is our producer, Greg Held. Hey, Clay, that was a great show with former presidential candidate Alan Keyes last week.
Excellent show. Scared the hell out of me.
Yeah. Well, imagine the different world we'd have if he would have beaten Obama for Senate in 2004.
Oh, my.
And then we had a great interview with Waleed Ferris. He actually left a congressional hearing in Washington to talk with us. So I was pretty impressed with that.
You know, after listening to Alan and then having Waleed
on. Mm-hmm.
I mean, talk about being scared with Alan. Now, this guy really scared us.
Yeah.
What's going on in Egypt and how the Egyptians hate Obama.
And also how they hate the Christian Egyptians. I mean, it's tough to be a Christian Egyptian right now.
It's tough to be a Christian anywhere right now.
This is true. Today we've got a great show. In the second half, we have Tom Del Beccaro, former head of the California Republican Party, who's now writing some great articles for Forbes. But in the first half, a man that Clay and I both respect, a senatorial candidate in a special election coming up, Andy Vidak. Andy, welcome back to Taking Care of Business.
Well, thank you very much, Clay and Marty.
So, Andy, when is your special election?
It is. We've got less than a week now. It's July 23rd.
Ah, July 23rd. Okay. Now, something didn't make sense there. I mean, to have a special election, it means you didn't win the last one, but didn't you win the last one?
Well, it was very, very close. Election night, we were cautiously optimistic. It looked very good. We mathematically, we didn't think that they could come back. My opponent actually conceded, left me a nice message on the phone. But the next day, Darrell Steinberg called me, asked me when I would like to be sworn in, and I told him as soon as possible. And then we kind of stopped on that, and I figured I needed to get my family up there to be at such a great ceremony. And they kept counting votes, and they found some provisionals, and it was very close. I didn't get the 50% plus one. We were within 150-some votes, I think, so it was very, very close. And here we go again. It's going to cost the counties up to, I think, $1.2 million for this additional race.
You know, it's interesting that every race, somewhere people come up with ballots in somebody's trunk, and it's always Democratic favored. Go ahead, Andy.
Yeah. Well, I've been through it before, but this is a very, very tough district for being in the Republican Party. It's a 22-point registration deficit. The provisionals were actually less than 3% of the total vote, and in a normal election, that would be as much as 8 and 16. So, that's what happened. The math was not supposed to happen that way. But, here we are. We still beat her by almost 4,000 votes, and we've kept the momentum going. We've got a good positive message, and, common sense doesn't have party lines, and that's been our message. We need jobs, and we need to grow this economy. We need to get California back on the right track. We need affordable, reliable water. We need affordable, reliable energy, and with those two things, man, we can do anything. But right now, we're running people out of the states with rules and regulations, and we need a voice back here.
Well, Andy, are you planning on driving people to the polls and then helping them vote?
Well, our ground crew is going to be twice the size it was in the primary, and has been all the way through this general election. We're going to be out there with armies, and that's what it's all about: is getting your folks out and getting them to the polls. Anybody out there listening, please talk to your friends, neighbors, cousins, aunts, uncles, everybody you know, strangers. Talk to strangers. They need to get out and vote. Most of the districts, it was, 70 to 80% of the people didn't vote, and they need to get out and vote. This is so important, whether you're a small businessman or dreaming of being one, or you're worried about your Second Amendment rights. And there's just so many things: education, more local control in our schools. That's what we need, and that's why I'm running.
One of the things I keep seeing or hearing on the radio is Leticia Perez has an advertisement about you, and then you have an advertisement about her. Why don't you guys advertise about yourselves?
Well, I think that's where we've been a lot. We have to just make some distinctions. But, most of ours have been about me and our view and our vision for what we want to do here in California. Then you've got independent expenditures with that I have no control about what they say and do. I can't really comment on either.
You mean the people that these PACs that you have no control over?
Well, an independent expenditure that will run ads that I don't coordinate or talk to them at all.
So the only ads that you really put out are the ones that you end with that say, "I approve this ad by Andy Vidak."
That's correct.
And I guess the same situation for Mrs. Perez?
Correct.
Now, is that her name, Perez, or is that her husband's name? Do you know?
That's her name, not her husband's.
Okay, I'm just curious. I thought she was married. Now you bring a question mark into play.
Oh, Clay's in good form this morning, Andy, isn't he? We're having a conversation this morning with Andy Vidak, who's in a special senatorial election coming up July 23rd. So, Andy, is your election going to affect the supermajority here in California one way or the other?
Well, it sure is. It won't stop it immediately, but it's going to. We've got another senator on the other side who's taking another position, another elected office, and that'll slow it down big time. We've got two opportunities in 2014, two seats that we really should win. The seat that I'm running for now will gain another 4.5 points in registration, and we'll lose part of Fresno City. We'll pick up more of Tulare County, and we'll pick up parts of rural Fresno County and Kern County, of course. And so the seat will actually get easier to keep. And that will stop. And then we've got Senator Calderon, who has had his office raided up in Sacramento, and who knows what's going to happen there. So, I mean, someone could get sick. There's all kinds of things that could happen, and that's why the seat is so important to both sides. We really need to put the brakes on this supermajority. It's not healthy for anyone. And it's just very important. We got to win this seat.
Yeah, the supermajority, I mean, it's ridiculous. I was at a luncheon the other day with State Senator Gene Fuller, and Gene was talking about, we all know that California is one of the largest economies in the world, but when it comes to gross domestic product for the state, you would think with all of our natural resources, we would be number one. We're something like number 9. We're like the 9th state. States like North Carolina are ahead of us. I mean, it's amazing the waste and the lack of initiative we see here in Sacramento.
Yeah, and then we've got, with the supermajority, you're going to see it even skewed even worse with radical environmentalism, and that's what stopped so much of our industry and our natural resources. I mean, this state is blessed with natural resources, and knee-jerk reactions when we find a big shale deposit, maybe the largest in the world, and they want to put a 5-year moratorium on it. I mean, they know nothing about the industry. It's just ridiculous. We've got a completely different geology here, and this is going to change the state if they'll just let us get in there. And I don't think they can stop the market forces. We're eventually going to be there, and it's going to make Kern County the power source of the state and the nation.
Hey, Andy, can you state your actual position on taxes? I keep hearing that you want to raise taxes, but you want to cut taxes. So what is your position on taxes?
Well, I am not for raising taxes. That the state does not have an income problem yet, but they do have a big, huge spending problem. I've been endorsed by the Jarvis, and I am against taxes. I cannot understand why someone would think or even fathom that I was going to be raising taxes over a Democrat like Leticia Perez. It's just ridiculous. I'm not in favor of raising any taxes ever.
Yeah, it's amazing that people would try to paint you with that brush. When we come back from the break, Andy, we want to talk about water, obviously, and talk a little bit about the differences between you and your opponent. Okay.
All right.
Okay, we'll be back in a moment on Taking Care of Business on Koerner Radio News Talk 1180.